What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the season 3 premiere of Go Talk Marcus for the very first time, presented by the Give Us a Shot Network. It is a privilege and an honor to be a part of this super talented group. It's a privilege and an honor to be here on what is a very nice Sunday afternoon / early evening here in DC. Once again, joining on the show to talk all things wrestling is my guy Sal Vassallo, and tonight we have a stacked show previewing night 2 of what could possibly go down as the greatest, or if not one of the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Let's get right into it.
Give them a shot to do what?
Wow, it's been a long time, bro. How you doing?
Good. You know, baseball season has started here, so I gotta start picking out which Met game that I want to go to. But I'm super excited, especially last night was epic. Last night was the main event was great, and it was also like you knew what was going on. This main event tonight, I have no idea. There's reasons for both guys to win, I think. You know, you knew MVP Sammy was getting the win at WrestleMania. I don't know if Cody finishes his story as they're putting it tonight. There's reasons why a lot of reasons why I think he might lose tonight.
So before we get into tonight, last night was amazing. Like, I think of the entire match card, I think for me personally, like the Cena Theory match, not as great as I thought it was going to be. I was kind of shocked that we didn't see at least one AA. So that was kind of weird. And the 6-women's tag match, it wasn't bad. But again, not at all, I think, at least for me personally, what I expected out of that match. But still not a bad match either way, though. Like, the entire night overall was fantastic from start to finish. Those two matches were definitely, like, the lows of the night. But if you had to give out one match of the night, what's your match of the night?
Oh, boy. It might seem kind of cheap, but I'm going to go with the main event because I think there's so much storytelling in there. But also, I would give an honorable mention to Ray versus Dominic because, like I told you, I didn't expect that to be a day one kind of a day one match. Yeah. And to be honest with you, we didn't get the result I was expecting. I really thought, like I had written it on like Facebook post everywhere. I'd be shocked if Ray doesn't put his son over.
Yeah,
and it happened. Like that was a complete curveball.
Yeah.
And it was great. I don't know what you do with Dominic now. Like, what's the next step for him? But it's always good to see Ray win. So that, you know, on his Hall of Fame weekend, very nice.
Yeah. I think for me, once they announced that Ray was going to the Hall of Fame, I think for me personally, it's like, okay, Ray's gonna win this match. Because this is like a career match. Like, it's not like a thing like with Ric Flair where they did at WrestleMania 24, where like we knew that Rick was getting inducted and he was going to lose. Like, that was a different thing. So for me, but like that was an amazing match. Also, I don't think me personally, the men's WrestleMania showcase was the match of the night to me. At the very least, it stole the show. The spots we got, the course that match was amazing. It was filled with so much excitement. We had a somersault from Ivar. We had a frog splash from Braun Strowman. We got one of the best shooting star presses in WrestleMania history, anyway, from Ricochet to the outside. We had Dawkins running smooth through Braun Strowman like he's a linebacker out there playing for the Niners or something. Like, that match was amazing. Street Profits got the win. All 8 guys looked fantastic. Ricochet had his moment. Strowman had his moment. Dawkins and Ford, they had their moment. Eric and Ivar had their moment. Of course, Chad Gable rolling German suplex on Braun Strowman, probably the spot of the night. That was amazing also. And then Otis having his moment as well. That was a great match. I think a lot of people thought that match wouldn't be that good just because it was kind of like thrown together. I love that match. I think of all the matches we saw throughout the night, I popped more in that match than I did any other match. That's no shade to Charlotte and Rhea, and I think that's the greatest women's match we've seen at WrestleMania. It was the longest women's match we've seen at WrestleMania, 23 minutes and 35 seconds, which is crazy when you think about some of the really good women's matches we've seen over the years. That was a fantastic match, but of course, like you said, the main event, they did it right. They did it right because if Rhea and Charlotte was the main event, if they gave us the exact same match they gave us, I don't know if that match would have been able to close out and follow up Usos versus KO and Sammy. That was an amazing match. First time ever the tag team titles were defended in the main event. That match was perfect. Like
it was
from start to
almost
finish.
unfair because of all the history that match had behind it. You know, from the Usos costing Kevin Owens hit the Universal title at the very beginning of Roman's reign as champion.
Yep.
And then obviously you throw in the Sami Zayn thing where it's like, you know, Sami Zayn in reality cares about the Usos a lot. And this is kind of his way of now they're going to go back to Roman with no belts, and Jimmy and Jay are going to see now that what Sammy said is true, and that, you know, Roman's kind of he's gonna rain down on them. They were cool as long as champions.
Yeah. So here's the thing too. So we've all kind of been speculating. We'll get to this later on in the show, of course. What's going to happen with the Universal and the WWE? Excuse me, the Universal and the WWE championships. What happens now with the tag titles? Right? Like, what show is KO and Sammy going to be on? Like, what are they? Because here's the thing, right? They're not going to have KO and Sammy defend both titles all the time. I don't think that's realistic. I do think the Usos might get a rematch at Backlash. I do think that that's a realistic thing. I don't think this is going to be a trilogy. I think it's Backlash and then that's it for these guys. So, like, what happens? Like, are we going to see maybe Sammy and Kevin relinquish one of the tag titles? Like, if you had to, if in a perfect world for you, what show are these two on? And then how are they going to handle the tag title situation? Because they're going to split it for sure, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's tough because it's like, how do you split it without having them lose? Like is it? Because I don't know right now. Like, because they just won it, I don't think you would have them lose. So I think that the only thing that makes sense is for them to relinquish it. But like, why would they? Like, would WWE just say like? And I don't think they would. Hey, we're just gonna split up the titles. Maybe something with like the draft. It's tough because I think whatever show the Street Profits aren't on, because I really do. I think that the Street Profits are long overdue for another tag title reign.
Of course.
And so I think they're picking up one of them. It's going to be tough, though. Those guys are going to have the belts, both belts, I think, for a while. It's awfully tough, man, because you cannot have them lose.
No, losing is not an option. That is true. Losing not an option. When you look at when you look at the tag division in WWE at the moment, I think we're talking about the Street Profits. Obviously, we're talking about Braun Strowman and Ricochet. Obviously, we're talking about the Viking Raiders. So that's 3 tag teams there. Strowman and Ricochet are both on SmackDown. Imperium's also on SmackDown. Kaiser and Vinci. You've got the new LWO, or formerly known as Legado del Fantasma. They're also on SmackDown as well. So like, there's a SmackDown tag division as well. On Raw, you've got obviously the Street Profits. You've got obviously Chad Gable and Otis. And I guess Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And then I guess the Usos. It's interesting. Like, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't really think there's more tag teams on SmackDown than there is on Raw. So I feel like Sammy and KO would have to be the Raw tag team champions. Maybe. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to kind of figure this out. This is the one thing that we were worried about is eventually, you know, these titles are going to have to be split up and how they're going to make it happen and do it cleanly.
I think it makes the most sense too. Because now it's like, are Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens still involved with the bloodline? Because I know they said they wanted to see the bloodline fall, but I'm thinking maybe like, do you clear out Do you send them to Raw? Obviously, Roman's. I mean, he's double champion, but he's made basically a
Sure.
SmackDown superstar.
Right.
Do you send Roman? Do you clear out Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and leave the Usos on SmackDown to deal with Roman Reigns and make that the kind of storyline? I guess it depends on what happens in the main event tonight, but
You're right, and again, like I do think we're going to see a rematch. I don't think that match was one and done. I think no pun intended. I do think that the story of Sami and Kevin Owens, and of course the Usos and the Bloodline in general, gets one more match. I do think that. I do think we get one more match at Backlash May 6th in Puerto Rico. I do think that happens. The question just becomes again, like who's going where and what's happening with these titles. That was, I think, always the risk of having undisputed champions for both for Roman and for the Usos is eventually these titles are going to have to split. And we all knew that this was coming, like you said earlier. Like we all knew that Sami and KO were going to win this match. Now we just need to figure out a way that makes sense to split these titles up. Because I don't think it makes sense to just now have one tag team title. I don't. Because there are enough tag teams. Not to mention, we're talking about the potential reuniting of Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa when Ciampa comes back from injury of DIY. That feud, I think, the tag team feud of the summer, I think is going to be KO and Sami versus DIY, and I think that has a potential to be just as good as what we saw from the Street Profits and the Usos last summer. I think that's amazing, and I think it'd be a really good. It's just there's so many pieces involved that maybe you're right. Maybe what happens in the main event has a lot of bearing on who goes where and what they do with the tag team titles for sure. That was a great match though, wasn't it? 3 haluva kicks at the end. Just a beautiful way to end it. A beautiful way to end it.
Yeah, I mean it's showing you that's how much you have to hit the Usos with to kind of to end that kind of reign. Like they really did it right. And you know, I mean, I think a lot of people guessed Sami and KO winning.
Yeah.
You don't throw into the script that Sami has been the MVP of WWE for the last 12 months and then have him lose. And then I saw on Twitter once Sami kicked out of the 1D, that was it. Everyone was like, everyone knew they were winning. But it was an awesome match.
There's no way you have, because again, since they started doing the 1D, no one else had kicked out of it. There's no way you have something like that happen and then the tag team not win. Let's jump into tonight though. And tonight's going to be, like I said at the beginning, tonight has the potential to be just as good, if not better, than what we saw last night. We're going to start off with what I think might be the match of the night. I could be wrong, but it might just be the match of the night. The longest reigning Intercontinental champion of the 21st century, Gunther, is defending his championship against former champion Drew McIntyre from way back in the day during his initial WWE. And Sheamus, a man who's never won the championship, but also a man who he put on an instant classic, or as Sheamus would say, banger, with at Clash of the Castle last year. If you had to call it, who's walking out of WrestleMania as the Intercontinental champion? Is Gunther retaining? Is Drew finally getting this championship back? Or is Sheamus going to finally win the championship that has eluded him for his entire career on the grandest stage of them all? Who you got?
I would. Ooh, this is tough, but I think I'm going to pick Sheamus, and I think Sheamus, and he's not gonna pin Gunther. I think he's gonna end up pinning McIntyre. I think if you're gonna give McIntyre, you know, we've all waited for that like big win in front of the fans, but I have to think that would be another world title run at some, like, I think that would have to be a world championship.
Sure.
So, but I think Drew McIntyre can kind of do Sheamus the favor and give Sheamus like that, because Sheamus, I don't know how much time Sheamus has left in WWE. There's so much to his, like, there's really like. There's a long resume there for Sheamus, and I think one last big win at WrestleMania. Not that he was a Hall of Famer anyways, but I think it's long overdue because Sheamus has been a workhorse. He's done pretty much everything they've asked of him. I think it's time to reward him. But I also think that it shouldn't be Gunther taking the pin. I think that's, you know, you can do Sheamus versus Gunther again down the line, and Sheamus gets the win then.
Sure.
To avenge Clash of the Castle. but I don't think he pins Gunther here. I think for whatever reason, it's reminding me a lot of because I've been thinking about this match a lot. Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, and Randy Orton, where the guy that's kind of thrown into the match, Orton, or in this case McIntyre, is the one taking the pin. So the powerhouse champion doesn't have to take because I can't see Gunther being the one to get pinned here.
No, not at all. I've already gone on record as saying this, and I'm going to say it again for the first time on the show since the first show back. Gunther's going to be the king of the ring come Saudi Arabia. There's no way he won't be. And we'll get to it later on the show, but if Cody does win tonight, I do believe that King of the Ring is when we will crown a new champion if Cody relinquishes the other one. And I think that the finals of the King of the Ring tournament is going to be for the Universal Championship, let's say. I think Gunther wins that match. I think that match is Gunther versus Gable, and I think Gunther wins that match. And I think in order to keep him strong, as we would say, in order to keep him, strong, as we would say, you're right. Drew does have to take the pin. I would be utterly shocked if Drew McIntyre wins this match, and not in a good way. Like, whether he pins Sheamus or Gunther, I'd be shocked if Drew wins this match because Drew is here, like you said, to take the pin for somebody. Because I don't even think Sheamus should be pinned here. Like, Sheamus, I honestly don't think Drew is a factor, really. And I know that's a crazy thing to say because he's obviously a two-time world champion and he's done a lot over the last couple of years since he's been back. And he's been one of the faces, not one of the faces of the company, but he's been one of he's been towards the top of the card since he's been back this entire time. I don't think Drew walks out of I don't think there's a chance Drew walks out of WrestleMania tonight as champion. He is just there to take the pin for whether it's a retain from Gunther or a new champion for Sheamus. I'm inclined to think Sheamus wins this match also. Up until this point in Sheamus' career, his biggest WrestleMania moment is beating Daniel Bryan in, 26 seconds. Back at, WrestleMania 27, which isn't a bad moment because that was for the World Heavyweight Championship. He just won the Royal Rumble, obviously. So, that wasn't a bad moment to have. But winning the one championship that's eluded him his entire career at WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood, in what is going to be the hardest hitting match of this year's WrestleMania. Forget Brock Lesnar and Omos. This is going to be the hardest hitting match of the entire 2 nights. I think Sheamus wins this match. And I think we start to see Sheamus take that next step and be one of those really physical Intercontinental champions. And there's only one guy that can follow up Gunther's championship reign, and it's Sheamus, ironically. Gunther is Sheamus, just like 10 years ago when Sheamus first got it. That's really what we're looking at, except he's leaner, he's faster, and it appears he's a little bit stronger. I don't think Drew wins. I do think Sheamus wins. And I don't think Gunther's involved in the pin. And I agree with you. I do think that maybe we see Gunther versus Sheamus down the line at maybe Backlash or something. Or even then, maybe not. Maybe he just goes on this wicked rampage that leads to him, like I said, being the King of the Ring. I don't think there's another answer at this moment for King of the Ring than Gunther. That is, I think, a lock. And I know that's a couple months away. I think that's a lock for Gunther to be King of the Ring when that time comes. I think that starts, unfortunately, though, with him losing at his first WrestleMania.
Yeah, this really has the potential to be match of the night. I remember Clash of the Castle. Sheamus versus Gunther was match of the night.
Oh yeah,
on that card.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the 3 guys, and it feels like such a personal build too. There's personal animosity between Sheamus and McIntyre. Obviously, neither one of them like Gunther. As it's going to be interesting to see how Imperium gets involved in this match too, because that's another key component that I think no one thinks about. As physical as the three of them can get, you have Imperium too that's going to end up getting involved.
That's true. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they don't get involved. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do get involved, but I think we've seen this a couple times over the course of history, with guys that have lackeys. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Gunther kind of nods back at Kaiser and Vinci in terms of head to the back. I think that would make this match amazing. Is if the match would be great either way. But if we get no interference from Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, I think that'd make the match even better. And I think that'd make a Gunther win even better as well. The tough thing again though for Gunther is if he doesn't lose tonight, I don't know when he's gonna lose.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And that's the unfortunate thing. So I think he has to lose tonight so that he can stay on that fast track to becoming a world champion, which I think happens as soon as, like I said, King of the Ring.
It kind of reminds me of Lashley's United States title reign. You know, he cut
Yeah.
through everybody, and like, remember how that reign ended with Riddle? It was like cheap. Like, it was like a cheap ending kind of thing.
Yeah. They
And
threw John Morrison in the match so that Riddle can pin John Morrison and not pin. And again, like you said, like we see that so many times where you'll have these multi-man matches just to throw that third person in there to take the pin for someone else. Drew jobbing or quote unquote jobbing for Sheamus is not going to be the worst thing in the world for Drew. Drew's still going to be at the top of the card. We could still see Drew versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship later down the line, and that would still be just as hard hitting as any of their other matches they've had so far. So like, he wouldn't win them, but they'd still be good matches. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no loser out of this. I mean, I know two people are going to lose the match, but there's no loser out of this. We are going to see, let's say Gunther wins and he pins Drew. Okay, great. We're going to see Gunther versus Sheamus again. Let's say Gunther pins Sheamus, which he probably won't. Okay, well, Drew's going to say, I want a one-on-one shot. Like, we're still probably going to see some combination of these two men fight for the championship down the line again. So, there you have it. This rivalry's been going on for over a year now, which is kind of crazy to think about. This all started back at WrestleMania 38 when Edge created Judgment Day, and then a couple months later, or a month later after Backlash, Finn Balor replaced Edge as the leader of Judgment Day, and they've done a whole bunch of nothing up until last night when Rhea Ripley became the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Now we're getting Hell in a Cell match, Brood Edge versus the Demon Finn Balor. Before we get into predictions, what's more likely? A purple demon, or we see the original members of the Brood coming out with Edge for his entrance?
I'm gonna say purple demon.
Purple demon's what we need, right?
I think if they're gonna bring the demon back, they're gonna do it right. I think obviously they don't do that. I can't even remember the last time they did it.
The demon?
The demon, was that?
It was Extreme Rules. It was the Extreme Rules match that had the terrible ending when the turnbuckle popped.
Oh yeah, the Roman Reigns. Yeah, because I remember the Rollins demon match was a classic.
It was that match was so good. There are not many matches that I look back on and like just watch casually of Finn Balor's. And it's not because I don't like Finn Balor. It's just he puts on great matches. But that is one of the matches that I will watch. Just sit down and just watch like it's TV. it's such a great match. I agree. I think Purple Demon has to come back just because it's Judgment Day and Judgment Day's colors are purple. Like I just think it makes sense at this point. Is Edge officially in the point of his career where he's just here to put people over? Like, is there a chance Edge wins this match?
Yes. I think, well, because it's interesting because it's like I've never felt like WWE has been fully behind Judgment Day. Like, it's like I've had so many times where like, okay, Judgment Day should win this match.
Sure.
And they don't win the match. Like, it's like, but, and especially with, I really thought one of two things is going to happen. Judgment Day is going to get a clean sweep this weekend, or Balor's going to lose. I thought there was no way Dominic could lose.
Sure.
Given that it is not Edge's final WrestleMania, because remember he went on the whole thing where like, I don't have time for you guys.
Yeah.
Given that it's not his last WrestleMania, I do think you see Balor come out on top. It would have been much more sad. Like if they really wanted to push Judgment Day to the moon, Dominic. I'll keep saying that Dominic should have won that match, but I think ultimately it's going to be a great match. Edge is going to come close, 2 3/4.
Oh yeah,
he's
for sure.
Going to lose. Here's
the tough part. I agree. I do think Edge is going to lose. Here's the tough part with Judgment Day. As we all know, Rhea Ripley's the leader of Judgment Day. If you don't know that by now, you're a moron. Like Rhea Ripley's the leader of Judgment Day. I know we like to say it's Finn Balor, but it's Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is now the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Right? If you look at the landscape of chances are, if Rhea Ripley's the SmackDown Women's Champion, Judgment Day is going to SmackDown. That is what I think that's a safe assumption to make. What that means then is that we're looking at Dominic and Damian Priest as the tag team and Finn chasing some type of singles title, I don't know if there's a chance for the Judgment Day to win gold until next year's WrestleMania. The men, specifically. I just don't. Because so if you go back to the IC Championship, if Gunther loses this match, and let's say Sheamus wins, right? You're going to have Sheamus lose to Finn Balor? When is that going to happen? At SummerSlam, maybe? Okay, so SummerSlam. Are you going to just push, no pun intended, just push Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio into the tag team title picture so that they can also win it? Like, how does it work? Because I'm not saying that they need titles to be relevant, but Judgment Day's taken a lot of L's over this last year. A bunch of them to the same guy. Like, Finn won the I Quit match back at, what was that? When they had that I Quit match? Was that Extreme Rules they had the I Quit match? Back at Extreme Rules they had the I Quit match. He won that match. But like everything else, it's been losses. Like you said, Dominic just lost to Rey. And I don't know if that's done or not, but I don't think we're going to see Dominic and Rey Mysterio in the same ring again. I think we're more likely to see Bad Bunny versus Dominic before we see Rey versus Dominic again, given how he got involved in the match last night. Like, not being funny, like, I don't think we're going to see Rey and Dominic again in a match, one-on-one anyway. We might see them in a tag match, but not one-on-one. I think that ship has sailed. I think that was a one-night thing. Will the story continue? I do think so, because now you have, again, like I said, the Latino World Order is now a part of it, and I do think that they're going to be a part of it, but we're not going to see Rey and Dominic again, one-on-one. And at some point, this has to end. They need championships to be the dominant faction they're supposed to be. Like, I know that they say on commentary they wreak havoc. No, they don't. They haven't wreaked any havoc. Judgment Day has been getting havoc wreaked on them. Like, Beth Phoenix spears them every other month. Edge comes out once every 2 months and beats them all down by himself, and then Rhea puts hands on them. Rhea's like, Judgment Day, if Finn Balor loses this match, but I don't think he will, but let's just play the what-if game. If Finn Balor loses this match, Judgment Day needs to be done. Like, done for. It's been a year, and like you said, it hasn't gone much of anywhere except for Rhea winning the championship last night. It's gone nowhere, and I don't know if it's going to be able to survive much longer if we don't start getting more gold within the Judgment Day. I think that's the only way to save the Judgment Day at this point, because there's no other factions really for them to feud with. Are they going to feud with the LWO? They could, like we kind of already saw a hint of it, and it didn't look that good. They're not going to feud with the Bloodline because the Bloodline's coming to an end. The Usos aren't champions anymore, and there's still no women in the Bloodline like we thought there would be 2.5 years ago when this all kind of first really started kicking in, right? This is not just for tonight, because I agree with you. Finn wins tonight. Beyond tonight, it's going to be tough to figure out what's next for Judgment Day if they're not starting to win some serious matches and maybe some championships.
Do 2 of the 3 men get involved for one of the tag titles? Like, let's say they split them up.
They'd have to, though. They'd have to. And the unfortunate thing is it would have to be Dominic and Damian Priest. I don't think I know Damian Priest is a former U.S. champion. I know that. But I don't think at this point Damian Priest, I mean, he could, because Sheamus would be the champion, and he did beat Sheamus the last time to win the championships. Like, maybe it's a deja vu thing. Dominic's not ready for a singles title. He's just not. That's just the fact. And I know that there have been reports that Triple H has a lot of faith in him and he'll be getting pushed harder. And I know that. And I'm the character Dom, I think, is really corny. I think it's really corny. But Dominic Mysterio, I think, could be a good singles champion. Just not right now. The only person of the 3 that could really be a singles champion to me is Finn Balor. He's the only one that deserves it, if we're being completely honest. So, like, Dom and Damian would have to be the tag team champions. Like, how does that look? Like, does a win for Finn Balor mean we're now expanding the Judgment Day more? Like, what's happening? It becomes the question. Like, there's so many different ways that this can go, and like I said, I don't know if Judgment Day can survive after Mania if they're not being put in serious contention to compete for and win championships, whether it's on Raw or SmackDown. But like I said, it'll likely be on SmackDown because Rhea is now the SmackDown Women's Champion. And I think where Rhea goes, Judgment Day goes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. But at least the one good thing about this match is that it's Hell in a Cell. And you said, like, Finn Balor beat Edge in the I Quit match. Yeah. He didn't straight up beat Edge. Like, you all remember how that kind of ended. So this is kind of his chance to straight up beat down Edge
Mhm.
and get that 1-2-3 pinfall victory that he desperately needs, because it's like it's Finn Balor, and like, but how long can you like you know about his storied career, so he's always gonna have that credibility, but it's like he needs a win he needs a win today.
Yeah.
Like he needs he hasn't had like a a clean win, big win in a long time.
100%. Here's the thing, too, before we move on to the next match of the night. And this one I'm really excited for. This is the second time that we're going to see the Demon at WrestleMania. I'm very excited to see this Demon entrance. Like, whatever it is, that's a long ramp. That's a big stadium. This entrance is going to be amazing. I think this entrance is going to be absolutely amazing. So let's talk about what I think, unfortunately, has the potential to be the worst match of WrestleMania. And that is the Women's WrestleMania Showcase. You've got Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Natalya and Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. I get it. You want to get as many people on WrestleMania as possible. And Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, after the year that they've had in 2022, especially the second half, they deserve to be here. You're never going to not have Natalya in a women's match in some capacity at WrestleMania. That's just kind of what she's there for at this point, to just kind of be the vet, to kind of control these things. Ronda Rousey's Ronda Rousey. She's the box office attraction here. Shayna Baszler's attached to Ronda Rousey. Shotzi's very talented. She definitely deserves it. Chelsea Green's, this is her first WrestleMania. Sonya Deville's been here before. I'm so not excited for this match. Like, not at all. I'm just not. And these are all talented women, and I'm sure they'll put on a good match. I'm just not excited for it. Like, when I read the entire all 14 or all 13 matches that were confirmed, this is the one that I just, and it's nothing against these ladies. I think all these ladies are very talented. I'm not fans of all of them. Like, I'm not a fan of Ronda Rousey at all. I don't have an opinion on Sonya Deville or Chelsea Green. I love Liv Morgan. I love Raquel Rodriguez. I think Raquel Rodriguez is the next SmackDown Women's Champion after Rhea Ripley has her nice lengthy reign, however long it is. Not sold. I'm not sold on this match at all, bro. And I don't feel bad either. I'm not excited for this.
This kind of gives me like the original feeling I had going to yesterday with the men's match, where, like you said, it was kind of thrown together to get guys on the card.
Yeah.
And then, the men's match, like you said, turned out to be great. This one kind of has like an obvious, I think this one kind of has like an obvious ending, and it's like, it'll come down to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. And just the fact that Rousey and Baszler were they're MMA fighters, and they were placed in this match. They didn't have to qualify. Makes me think there's no way they don't win.
Yeah.
We need a dominant heel win. Not dominant, but you need like a monster heel.
Yeah.
Like Rousey kind of is. She gets heat not only as a heel, but just people really don't like her as much. I think for that reason, I think they're going to dominate in this game, in this matchup.
I agree. I don't want to spend too much more time on this because this match does not get any of the blood flowing for me. Like, this is it's just an uninteresting match. And I understand you want to get as many people on the card as possible. This is just not it for me. It's just not.
It's not only thrown together.
Yeah.
It's tag teams that just like are kind of thrown together, like Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville and like Natalya and Shotzi.
The only two tag teams here that make sense is Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. I don't know why this isn't just a regular tag match. Like, at least there's a story there that we've seen kind of develop, because Ronda and Shayna, they first of all, why is Tegan Nox not in this match? Where is she at? Is she hurt or something? If there's any person that should be in this, it should be Tegan Nox and Shotzi. No shot at Natalya, but I don't know. Anyway, like, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez have some kind of history between Ronda and Shayna, because Ronda and Shayna obviously injured Raquel Rodriguez. Liv Morgan obviously beat Ronda Rousey to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. She also beat Shayna Baszler. Like that, just give me that match. Just give me those four ladies out there in a match. I would be more excited for that than this, because at least there's something there. You know, like what is Natalya and Shotzi's role in this match? What is Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville's role in this match? We all know this is going to come down to Ronda Rousey or Shayna Baszler making Liv Morgan or Raquel Rodriguez tap out. We know that. Like, what is the role of the other four ladies? And this is no shot at any of them because I think they're all super talented. I can't do half the things they do. So I'm not saying that I don't think they're good. I'm not saying I think they suck. I just don't understand the context of this match. At least with the men's showcase, there was something there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got the Viking Raiders who had been wreaking havoc on every tag team on the SmackDown division, and I'm sure the New Day would have been involved in that match, but Kofi Kingston is injured, right? You've got Chad Gable and Otis, who are being fantastic, right? They've kind of got a thing going on with the Street Profits. Braun Strowman and Ricochet kind of had a thing going on with the Viking Raiders. Let's put all four of these teams together. Give me something. And it was a great match, even though a lot of people thought it was going to be the bathroom break match. It was a really, really, really good match. If you are at WrestleMania, if you're watching WrestleMania, when this match comes on, if you have to pee, you have to poo, you have to go get a sip of water, this is the match to do. And I hate to say that because we've come a long way since we started, you know, from the Divas era when that's really what the Divas matches were, was the bathroom break match. Right now, and I hope I'm wrong, right now, this is the bathroom break match for night 2 for sure. And I hate to say it, but it is. Look at what you're giving me to work off of. All these ladies are super talented. All these ladies are, I'm sure, excited to go out there and put on a show. This is the bathroom break match, though. And I haven't said that about a women's match in a very long time. This is the bathroom break match, though. It is, unfortunately.
You look at a couple names in here, too. Yeah, obviously, Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan, former world champions, Natalya, Raquel Rodriguez, who you're assuming they're, you know, like you said, they're going to make her a star. I don't see how they don't.
Oh, they're going to make her a star for sure.
This is kind of like her first, you know, WrestleMania. And the match is a little bit underwhelming. Has a chance to have some good spots between Raquel and I think Raquel and Ronda Rousey. I think that's your best chance for like a really good spot.
Yeah, there's going to be some good spots. Maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3, but this is the bathroom break match, and I hate to say it. All right. Let's talk about maybe this won't be the bathroom break match. Maybe Brock Lesnar versus Omos will be the bathroom. Well, no, because it's Brock Lesnar. You're never going to go to the bathroom for Brock Lesnar. Is it safe to say that Omos wins this match? Is Brock Lesnar also at that place like we saw with Cena, maybe, where he's just here to just give back to the business, as they say, and put younger guys over? Or does Brock Lesnar just out here get a quick check, smash Omos, go home? How many F5s are we getting in this match, realistically?
I think you could realistically, Lesnar, like it's going to be, I actually think Lesnar is going to end up winning this match because I think he's going to, I don't know, because do they have a real plan with the Omos character, or is this just like,
who knows?
All right, this is what we're giving you, Brock Lesnar, so we'll give you a high-profile match.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he wins because I think, we've seen kind of Brock Lesnar, kind of struggle to overpower Omos, and I think it's kind of building up to, like, at the end of the match, he's going to, like, F5 him. It's like, how did he do that? You know, it's going to be...
How do you do it? It's Brock Lesnar. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're really going to, because they've kind of shown that Lesnar's, like, they went out of their way kind of to show that, like, Lesnar has struggled to overpower Omos, and he's, like, a little intimidated. Kind of like how they did it with the Big Show when they had Big Show toss Lesnar around out of the ring a couple times, and then you went to the match. Hopefully it won't be as big of a squash as that match was. Because, like, you kind of saw in that match, Lesnar got, like, hit with the WMD, but after that, it was pretty much all Lesnar.
Yeah.
This match, I'm hoping if they're serious about Omos, they'll give him a little back and forth, and they'll give, Omos a dominant first part of the match. But I think ultimately Lesnar's going to end up powering Omos up, and they're going to be like, oh, wow. Yeah. And then... I mean, it's just the way they presented it that makes me think they're gonna make Lesnar really the underdog here and have him kind of rise up to the challenge. As crazy as that sounds for an 8-time champion, they've had him. They've definitely posed him to look intimidated in recent weeks.
Oh my gosh, who do you think has a longer entrance, Omos or Brock Lesnar?
Omos. He's just very slow.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time in 2018 when they had when they first introduced the long ramp for the Rumble? And they had like the big guys like Show and Kane ride to the ring with on a track on like a dolly. They need to do that for Omos because he is not a fast walker. He's not even like he doesn't even walk briskly. Like he's gonna stroll his way down that ramp. It's a long ramp. Like I've seen jokes about like people saying Roman Reigns needs to start walking now to make it to the ring in time for his match. No, Omos needs to start walking now. He takes so long to get to the ring, bro. It's ridiculous. I want to know just what Corey Graves and Matt Michael are going to do to fill the dead space that is the walk from the top of the ramp to the ring for Omos. At least Brock walks with some pep in his step, and he's got the pyro. Nobody's going to have any pyro because the pyro budget is all going to be wasted in the last match of the night. But I do think Brock wins. I want Brock to win this match. I think Omos is going to win, though. I don't think you have this match for Brock and Omos and not have Omos win. But to your point, what's the Omos character look like after this? Right? Like, you've already done Brock. We already done Omos with Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman won that match. There's no monsters left on the roster. There's none. There's none. It's Braun Strowman. It's Brock Lesnar. That's it. I don't want to see Omos versus Gunther. Those are two big dudes I don't want to see getting in the ring together. I don't want to see Omos versus Sheamus. I want to see Omos versus Damian Priest. I don't want to see Omos versus Drew McIntyre. I don't want to see Omos versus Bray Wyatt when he comes back. Like, I just don't. We saw Omos versus Bobby Lashley last year. Like, I don't really know. This is feeling to me like last year's match with Omos and Bobby Lashley where they did all this stuff. He's the Nigerian Giant and he's 7'3", and Bobby Lashley's a mere mortal compared to Omos, and then Bobby Lashley beats Omos, and it's like, great, now Omos is doing nothing again. I think, and that's when Vince was in charge. Like, I think that's where we're at, is Omos is doing all this, he's 7'3", and MVP's like, to any other man, Brock is a beast, but to Omos, he's just a man, and he's going to get F5 6 times and lose the match, and Brock's going to get a fat check and go back to Saskatchewan with his farm and his 3-mile driveway, or however long it is. Shout out to Brock for coming out to get this quick check, but I don't see the benefit in having Omos win this match because we saw this last year and it resulted in nothing. And Brock Lesnar, despite only being a part-timer, is still a much bigger box office attraction and much higher up on the card than Bobby Lashley is. And if Omos can't beat Bobby Lashley, you can't convince me now a year to the day later, matter of fact, that he can come out here and beat Brock Lesnar. You just can't. You just can't. There's no way Omos wins. If Omos wins, this might be the bathroom break match. Maybe I stand corrected. Maybe the women's showcase will get saved by this. These matches better not be back-to-back. If these matches are back-to-back, I don't know what to tell you because that's not going to be good for either match. This is just going to be the lull in the middle of the show. Just energy is going to go from straight to the bottom. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
It's going to be the shower break. You're going to have enough time to take a shower.
Yeah, you have enough work. You have enough time to go cook your meal prep for food for the rest of the week. So we saw the SmackDown Women's Championship change hands last night. In the history of the SmackDown and Raw Women's Championship being in existence together, so going all the way back to 2016, if my memory serves me correctly, and it probably doesn't because I'm kind of old, but I do not think that both championships have changed hands during the same WrestleMania. I know these are only 2 nights, but it's still the same WrestleMania 39. If you go back to WrestleMania 33, Naomi became the new SmackDown Women's Champion, but Bayley retained. If you look at WrestleMania 34, Nia Jax won the championship, the Raw Women's Championship, but Charlotte Flair retained. WrestleMania 35. Well, I guess it'd be WrestleMania 35 because Becky became Becky 2 belts, so I guess that counts. But it was a winner take all match, so I don't know. WrestleMania 36, I actually don't remember the women's matches for WrestleMania 36, which I don't know if that's good or bad. But I think WrestleMania 36 altogether was quite forgetful, aside from like a couple things. WrestleMania 37, okay, well, it's WrestleMania 37 because we did see Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair walk out as the new Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions, respectively. And then, of course, last year we saw Bianca Belair win the Raw Women's Championship and Charlotte Flair retained. So, are we going to see Bianca's officially 365-day reign, because it's 365 days today since it's night 2 instead of night 1? Are we going to see her reign come to the end at the hand of Asuka, or is she fully in her Super Cena era And is she going to beat Asuka tonight to retain the Raw Women's Championship?
I really, really wanted to predict Asuka to win this match just because I'm such a big fan of Asuka and her ability in the ring. And at this point, Belair has kind of had a lot of WrestleMania moments already. So
Which
it's
is crazy to think because she hasn't been on the main roster though.
No, so she has all these WrestleMania moments, the year-long title reign already, and she's still going to win this match because I just don't think they've built up Asuka enough. I just don't know what they're doing with the Asuka character. I don't like it. If Asuka does win, they better have a plan to catapult this character because it just I hated seeing them Asuka save Belair a few times. It's ridiculous. That's your opponent.
Yeah. This is tough. This one's a tough one. On the one hand, so when this match was first made official back at Elimination Chamber, I was like, okay, Asuka wins this match for sure. I thought Asuka was going to go on a mean streak from Chamber to now and be just on and in a way she has. But whether Bianca Belair wins this match or whether Asuka wins this match, we've got a bigger problem on our hands with the Raw Women's division. A much bigger problem. You've got Chelsea Green, who is not at all a championship contender. You've got Alexa Bliss when she comes back, who Bianca's already beaten. You've got Becky and Bayley, who Bianca's already beaten. You've got Io Sky and Dakota Kai, who are both going to be tied up with the tag titles, I think, for the foreseeable future, or at least with Bayley, because we could be seeing the end of Damage Control coming soon. You've got who else is on that? Who else is on the Raw? You've got Dana Brooke if she's still on the Raw Women's division. I don't even know that counts. Roxanne Perez could be on her way up now that she's just lost NXT Women's Championship officially at Stand and Deliver yesterday afternoon. So maybe she's on her way up here. Either way, though, once you get past the inevitable rematch, whether Asuka wins or whether Bianca wins, what's next for either? Like what's next for either competitor here?
I don't know because you bring up the interesting point of now if Asuka doesn't win, who beats Bianca? But it's if Asuka wins, what are you doing with the character? Because she has to get a whole lot meaner, I think, Asuka on this run.
And maybe that's why I think she loses. I think she loses because she needs to get meaner. She needs to be. We know that she's supposed to have this mean streak, but she needs to have a reason to have this mean streak. And I know they tried to do this with Shinsuke Nakamura back at WrestleMania 34. That was the worst decision ever. He should have won that match. He should have won that match. I think we see something similar to that, where Asuka loses and just gets meaner. That's what has to happen. Asuka is long overdue for a lengthy, dominant championship reign the way she had in NXT, where she never even lost. Like if she went to NXT tomorrow or on Tuesday, technically, and requested a rematch, she should be granted it because she never got to. She never invoked her rematch clause because she never lost the championship. She just relinquished it because she got called up to the main roster. She retired from NXT undefeated as the women's champion. I just don't know what's next. The women's division on Raw is lackluster. Like we think the women's division on SmackDown is lackluster, and it's not that the women's division on SmackDown is lackluster. It's just that they just don't do anything. There's a lot of talent. You got Liv Morgan, Shotzi Blackheart. Like there's a lot of, or just Shotzi. Sorry, there's a lot of talent. They're just not doing anything with it. It's lackluster on Raw because all the women that you think, oh yeah, perfect championship contenders, they've all lost championship matches in the last year, multiple of them on big stages to Bianca Belair, and now they're tied up in a feud with each other. You want to make Carmella go up against Bianca Belair again? And I don't want to see Carmella versus Asuka. I didn't like seeing it in 2017 when they gave it to us the first time. I don't want to see it again. I just don't. I really, really don't. I really don't.
That's the thing. Is there a way that you can? Is there a way Bianca can win tonight, where Asuka has a reason to get a rematch, and then Asuka wins? Because I think the whole thing for me is Asuka could win this match. You didn't build it up enough. You didn't build it up right for me to say like Asuka should win this match. So that's why I think you just keep it on. You keep it on Belair for now, and then maybe Asuka wins it at some point down the line.
But then like
the way they built it is terrible.
Who wants to see this match again? Like this is a dream match on paper, but it's the build. People were saying that the Rhea Charlotte build was lackluster. What is this? This build has been the epitome of lackluster. I just don't. Like I just don't with this match, and it sucks. But you made a great point. Bianca Belair is undefeated at WrestleMania, which is crazy to say. It's a crazy thing to say. She's undefeated. She won at WrestleMania 37. She beat Sasha Banks in the main event, SmackDown Women's Champion. She's undefeated. It's only been 2 matches, but like you cannot Asuka. I don't. If you look at the NXT Women's Division, Roxanne Perez I think is on her way up. Maybe I think she is. I thought Indy Hartwell was on her way up also, but I guess she's not because she's now the new the NXT Women's Champion. JC Jane and Gigi Dolan are still feuding. Mandy Rose isn't there. Like that would be the only other person. If Mandy Rose was here, I can say, okay, Mandy Rose is next, but she's not. She's not even with the company anymore. Like I don't know. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire just won the tag team titles. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter are not at this point in their career world championship contenders on NXT, let alone on Raw. Like where is the next challenger coming from? Like whether Bianca wins this match or not, and let's say she does and they get a rematch and she wins that match again, she still needs a new opponent. Whether Asuka wins this match or not, let's say she does and wins the rematch, she still needs another opponent. We have at least a month to figure out from now until Backlash, probably, maybe Queen of the Ring if they want to stretch this over and give us a trilogy. We have 3 months to figure out, 2 really, but 3 months because Money in the Bank's in 3 months. We have 3 months to figure out who's going to be the next challenger for the Raw Women's Championship. There's no one on the roster right now that has a legitimate case to do so, and I don't have faith right now that in 3 months we can get one of. Is going to be Piper Niven? Maybe it could be. I don't think so though. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know.
So it's like I feel like the 2 options here are like
it's gonna be Charlotte. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's gonna be Charlotte. I don't even know why we're sitting here figuring this out. It's gonna be Charlotte. They're gonna pull Charlotte from SmackDown, put her on Raw, and she's gonna be the Raw Women's Champion in 3 months. I just can't, bro. I don't know. Or maybe it's a swerve. Maybe Raquel Rodriguez isn't gonna be SmackDown Women's Champion. Maybe she wins Money in the Bank and cashes in on Raw. But you still have the same problem of who her challenger is going to be. It's just the Raw Women's Division. There's nothing. At least with SmackDown, there's a bunch of talent. It's just not being used correctly. There's nothing in Raw. There's nothing really. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. That is the state of the Raw Women's Division right now.
I think like your 2 options here, if you're thinking about it, is Asuka wins off of a very poor build and a character that's just very, very confusing to understand. But if you have Bianca win, it's like, well, who's next? Like who legitimately could challenge her? It's tough.
Speaking of legitimate challengers, we could be seeing for the final time Roman Reigns as the champion in WWE. The undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns puts his championships on the line against the prodigal son, Cody Rhodes. There's a lot to unpack here, and we're not going to make picks. I don't want to do that. That's not fun because who cares? There's so many things you can do. Here's what I do want to talk about. On SmackDown on Friday, at the end of the show, Roman Reigns held up the WWE Championship. And Paul Heyman was holding on to the Universal Championship. There's been a lot of speculation about what that means. Sal, what does that mean for tonight's main event? Is this match only for the WWE Championship, do you think? Is this the clever way that Paul, Triple H, formerly known as Hunter Hearst Helmsley Levesque, has come up with to make sure that A, Cody gets his moment, but B, that Roman hits 1,000 days by Saudi Arabia, King of the Ring?
Because you have to think about it. It's only 1,000 days with the Universal title. It's not
It
1,000 days
is.
with
It's
both.
not 1,000 days with both. It's 1,000 days as Universal
I
Champion.
think, ultimately having Paul Heyman there, what you said months ago, he put something in that contract that said only for the WWE title. But I think that they do announce it before the match. I don't think you would have Cody win both and then say, oh, no, it was only for this. Like that's lame. But I think
Do you think if they announce it that way, it's a dead giveaway though that Cody's gonna win?
yeah, because
Like, how do you, if that is really what's happening, how do you get through that without it being a dead giveaway that Cody wins? Is now my thought process. If it's true, and it's only for the WWE Championship, right? How? Because you're right, I agree. There's no way Cody wins this match and then they show up on Raw and it's like, oh no, wait a minute, sir. You only want, like, that's tacky, right? But then if they announce it, first of all, Samantha Irvin, I am gonna have chills up and down my spine when she introduces this match because she's so good at her job. She's so good at her job. But how, like, if they say, okay, if she says, okay, this is for the WWE Championship, then it's like, we know Cody wins this match. Like, I don't know how they make that happen so that we, like, it's not a dead giveaway. I don't know how it works, man. I don't know how it works. If that is really what it means. Maybe that was just Roman trying to get in his head. I don't know. Maybe that could be really happening. It'd be interesting to see how they kind of try to play that out, if they play that out at all tonight. Or maybe Cody just wins the whole thing. Maybe he just wins all of it. And it just doesn't matter. And that's just WWE's way of trying to tease us to make us think that.
depends on, for me, it depends on two things. How soon does Roman Reigns want to go on vacation? Because, he's wanted time off for a while now.
Yes. Yes.
So, but you want to rekindle Jay versus Roman off of, you aren't mad at me because I hit Roman with that chair. You're mad because you didn't get to do it first. Is Jay eventually going to get his chance to do it when Roman scolds them for losing the tag titles?
That's true. The only way Roman can scold the Usos for losing the tag titles is if Roman is still champion.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't work if Roman's not champion. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think it would make sense in the world of the story that we have that has been woven and created over the last 3 years for Roman to scold the Usos for not being champion if he himself is not also champion. Because he was champion before they became champions. He became double champ before they became double champ. Like, he's been setting the tone. So unless you're going to get, like, I don't know if Roman believably can get upset with the Usos for losing their tag titles if he is no longer a champion himself. And if, in looking at it from that perspective, that makes me believe that Roman is going to walk out of SoFi Stadium with at least one championship. If he walks out, though, with just one championship, again, how are they going to make that work so that it's A, not lame, like you said, where they do it tomorrow night on Raw, or B, where it's not a dead giveaway if they do it tonight and say, okay, this match only for the WWE Championship. Because then if they say like that's okay, yeah, we know Cody's winning. And I think that takes away from the pop that Cody gets if it becomes a dead giveaway. That's what happened. Do you know what I mean? Like mm-hmm. I don't like it, again. And you've been there. I've been saying this for months, ever since this whole thing started. But especially recently, over all of 2022, every pay per view I said, especially since Triple H come in charge, every pay per view, and you know it, I've said it. However they split up these championships, they cannot mess it up. However they do it, whether it's there's a thing in the contract, whether I'm just going to relinquish the championship, whether Roman just says it outright. However they do it, they have to do it perfectly because they cannot let the splitting of the championships become a takeaway for the pop for whoever beats Roman. That's one. Two, Roman and Jay don't need to fight each other for a championship. And so that part of it doesn't matter. And so for that reason, I don't think it matters if Roman is a champion or not heading into that match specifically, because that match doesn't need a championship. A, B, I love Jey Uso. He's been amazing. He has been fantastic since this whole thing has started. He's been the MVP of the Bloodline, of course, before Sammy came along and he became the MVP of WWE. I don't want to see Jey Uso as Universal Champion. I don't. He's just not there. I don't know if it would make sense to do that. I don't. I don't think that's a route you have to take. I think because of how intricate and because of how deep and how developed the story has been over the last almost 3 years, Jey and Roman can fight at SummerSlam without a championship and it'd be okay. And you just do a thing where the loser is out of WWE and that's how Roman gets his break. And you don't need a championship for that. You do not need a championship for that. Like that is what that is. So we are going to do picks, of course, because we always do picks. But I just want to talk about that really quickly. If you had it, gun to your head, all your life savings on the line, who walks out of WrestleMania 39 tonight and was going to be the most expensive pyro entrances we've seen ever? Who is walking out as champion? Is Roman retaining, or will Cody Rhodes finally finish the story?
That's tough. Well, obviously, like if Cody doesn't win tonight, which I don't think he's going to, I think it gives me. See, the thing is if Cody doesn't win tonight, are you almost guaranteeing he wins at like next WrestleMania or next SummerSlam, like one of the big pay-per-views that he wins the WWE title at? Like you're almost guaranteeing it. And I don't want it to become like a Cena versus The Rock thing where you have the main event a year before the event, like literally right after that WrestleMania where The Rock beat Cena. And like, okay, now you have the main event for next year, which is a rematch. It's tough because I don't know. I was thinking Roman Reigns. You see, because now you brought up all this stuff about Roman versus Jey not needing a championship, and it's like seeing Jey win the Universal Championship would be cool. But yeah, it's like, what do you do with that after that, though? Like after he beats Roman, how does he look as Universal Champion? It's tough. Are you gonna see? Is this like the end of the bloodline? Kind of now. I don't know. I'm still gonna pick Roman. I just think that I've kind of been down this road before of picking against Roman. Like I did at Clash of the Castle. I was sure that was going to be Drew's big moment in front of fans, in front of his hometown fans, and they still didn't. And they still gave us a non-clean finish, and Drew lost.
I mean, you guys see the shirt I'm wearing, right? It says "Acknowledge Your Daddy." It's the shirt. It's Roman Reigns' shirt. I acknowledge my tribal chief every Monday. I acknowledge my tribal chief every Friday. I've had the privilege of seeing my tribal chief with my own two eyes. Most recently back in March when SmackDown was here. I and Sal, you know this because we've been doing this for 3 years now, almost. I've never not picked Roman Reigns, right? I've never not. I think there's one time I didn't, and that was I think Drew also with you because I think that was just like we all kind of thought that was what was happening. I always pick Roman Reigns. I've never had a reason not to pick Roman Reigns. With that being said, I don't know who's going to win this match. I don't. This is the first time in the history of the pod I don't have a pick. I cannot pick this match. I can't wrap my mind around either reality. As a wrestling fan, as a young wrestling fan, as a wrestling fan that grew up in the Ruthless Aggression era, right? I would, well, really PG era, but still, Ruthless Aggression. I would so love to see for the first time in my lifetime a champion hit 1,000 days. I love that because we haven't lived through that. We haven't. The last person to do it, I believe, was Pedro Morales. That was eons ago, over a century ago, almost. Right? I'd love to see that so much. Like, do you know what I mean? But there's a part of me that also really thinks that if there's ever a time to do it, it has to be now. If it's going to be Cody. Because if it's going to be Cody, if it happens later, the pop's not going to be the same. Because now you run into the issue that we've run into multiple times over the course of WWE history with this current generation of fans of now we just don't care anymore. Now we don't want to see it anymore. Like kind of what happened with Liv Morgan with the SmackDown Women's Championship. Roman Reigns has been the guy. He's been the face of the company. He's been carrying the company on his back for almost 3 years now. And now we've talked about this on the phone. If Cody Rhodes didn't miss that 7 months because of the pec injury, I'd have no problem coming in here today and saying Cody's winning this match. No problem. But because he missed that 7 months, I just don't know what it looks like for Cody now. The challengers aren't an issue. There's challengers no matter who wins this match. The issue is which direction are you going? If Roman wins this match, then I think that would mean that Jay is the next Universal Champion, and I don't know if that's good. That is not a better option than Cody Rhodes. If Cody wins this match, what happens with the bloodline? Do we just want it all to crumble so fast in the same weekend? Is that what we want to see happen? I don't know. My gut is telling me Cody Rhodes is winning tonight. Because I don't think you make all this fuss for Cody and he not win tonight. But knowing how the machine works and knowing that there is money in the allure of Roman Reigns losing these belts eventually, I'm going to take Roman because people pay to see potentially Roman Reigns lose. I don't think people are going to pay to see Roman Reigns lose as a challenger, A, and B, Roman Reigns hasn't been pinned since he returned in the Thunderdome at SummerSlam 2020 at the end of the Fiend versus Braun Strowman Universal Championship match. They're not going to have the same person pin Roman Reigns twice in a short period of time. A, to win the championship, and then B, to retain it. Once Roman gets that first pin for the first time, he's done. We won't see him for a while. How long that while is, we don't know. But we won't see Roman for a very long time once he loses these belts. I don't know if now is the time to do that. I still think there's money in this storyline. I still think there's money in having Cody continue to chase Roman Reigns. I still think there's money in the bloodline continue to struggle while Roman Reigns is champion. I still think there's money in the obsession of the Sami and KO problem. And I still think there's money in Cody Rhodes continuing his pursuit to become the first WWE champion of the Rhodes family. And because of that, I guess I'm picking Roman Reigns. But this is the first time in a long time, even with Drew, where I'm legitimately unsure about whether or not Roman retains or whether or not Roman loses. And I think that's the best way I can that's the best way I can put it. I just don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's tough because I think, like, you look at what Cody Rhodes was on his way to having like a monster year. You know, he beat Rollins 3 times. We all expected Rollins to win at least that second match. He didn't. So Cody Rhodes got a clean sweep, and then he was hurt. So they didn't have a chance to build off of that. Bringing him in at 30 in the Royal Rumble, while it's a great accomplishment to win the Royal Rumble, bringing him in at 30 dampened the accomplishment for me a little bit.
Me too. Me too.
I just think it was a very forced, and also because they said he was going to be in it.
Yeah.
So like while it's still like on his resume, like he won the Royal Rumble, and you know he's the rightful challenger. I don't know. There's just not enough of a build. Like there's Cody Rhodes hype for him to win, but there's nothing on his resume since he's been back so far that says he deserves to be the one to end this like historic reign for Roman. Like beating Rollins, like saying like beating Rollins 3 times, it's a huge accomplishment. Obviously, we know how future Hall of Famer Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it because he got hurt. If he didn't get hurt, who knows, how soon they start building this, how soon, maybe they build this, maybe they build this way before, but since they didn't get that chance, and the promos have been great, like the build has been okay.
Yeah.
But I think there could have been a further backstory to this match if Cody doesn't get hurt. And then I would have liked to see Cody win.
I agree. There's a lot to unpack. WrestleMania starts in a little over 30 minutes. And I'm very excited. I know Sal's excited. We're going to let you guys go. We're going to get out of here so we can get comfortable and watch the show. But before we go, Sal, please let everybody know where they can find you and all of your content.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Sports in the Big Apple. I upload to podcast to Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast at Sports in the Big Apple. Very excited. Going to start talking some baseball, hockey, basketball playoffs. The Knicks and the Rangers are actually poised to maybe make a run in their respective leagues. The Knicks trying to hang on to the 5 seed, playing the Wizards tonight. The Nets are right behind them. They won already. The Rangers beat the Capitals. They're pretty much locked into their playoff spot with the way that the hockey playoffs work this year. So exciting stuff for sure. It's about to, now it's to the point where I have baseball and basketball and hockey all on at the same time, and it's great. But tonight, WrestleMania definitely takes center stage.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. I've missed this. I have missed doing this. It's good to be back. Sal will be back on May 6th to preview Backlash. We will be back next week on the 10th. On the 10th, it's the NBA season ends on the April 9th. The play-in begins on the 11th. Germ and I, you guys all know who Germ is. Germ and I from Stuff About Sports will be breaking down the play-in and making our final playoff predictions on the 10th. Also on the 10th is the WNBA draft, and I have promised that the WNBA content is coming the week after the 10th, or maybe later in the week of the 10th. I will have my very first WNBA pod. We're still getting the kinks out, settle off for that. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, huge shout out to all the guys here at the Give Us a Shot Network. Shout out to Germ and Bert, Mike and Corey, JT and Don, the guys at the High Spot Podcast, whose name, unfortunately, I don't know because I haven't had a chance to work with them yet. And, of course, Ty. All of you guys, a big, big, big thank you for welcoming me into your family. To all the viewers out there that have been tuning into the Give Us a Shot Network for all this time, I appreciate you guys welcoming me into this lovely, lovely family. If you guys are wrestling fans and you're watching, have fun watching WrestleMania. We will be back next week with some NBA content. Sal will be back in a month. I'm super excited. Season 3 is here. We got a new home. We looking good, and I'm very excited. Enjoy WrestleMania. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a great week. We'll be back next week. And as always, you guys are the rest of your lives.